Hey, everybody, I'm Christina from Big Beautiful Sky. Welcome. Today, we're going to talk about the astrology of February, and it is shaping up to be epic. So, I don't think anyone or anything is leaving February the same. The energy is incredibly transformational for each of us, for the collective. The best thing that you can do is let go of whatever wants to be released. This is not a time to hold on. It's a time to let go. It's a time to really lock in and stay focused on your goals, on what you want to create, on the new systems and experiences and the life that you want to build. The energy is really chaotic, but it's ripe for creation. Creativity is chaos. And so the more you can lean in to the chaotic and the creative and let go of the destructive, the better off you're going to be once you get to March. There's going to be a lot of chaos and noise in the world around you. Ignore the noise, ignore that chaos, that destructive chaos, and really stay neutral, observe, pause. You'll know when to strike. Take note of what's happening so you can pivot and adapt accordingly, but don't fall into a doom spiral or negativity. Don't let fear overwhelm you. Remember COVID? It feels a little bit like that. So don't fall into a doom spiral, a fear spiral. Don't become frozen. Don't make decisions based out of fear. February is a great time to really stay focused on your nervous system and regulation. If you need support, please get in touch. I'm at bigbeautifulsky.com. The energy is wild, but it's also a really interesting time in terms of launching something new. Yes, Mercury is going retrograde, so don't do it then, but still take strides forward. Be bold, be brave, be courageous. The energy is really supporting that. You're seeding a new cycle. So set intentions and take actions. First, out of the gate, on February 1st, we have the Leo full moon. I love this quote from George Orwell because I think it illustrates this full moon perfectly. He says from 1984, they fear love because it creates a world they cannot control. I want you to think about what's happening in the sky right now. The full moon is in Leo, opposing 5 planets in Aquarius. Aquarius is a Saturn ruled sign. So, with the moon in fiery, creative, lovely Leo, it's like a warm beacon opposing these 5 planets still in Aquarius. Aquarius is co ruled by Saturn, the planet of structure, limitations, and time, and Uranus, the planet of revolution, innovation, and freedom. So it's a paradox. It's a sign of both boundaries and breakthroughs, the past and the future, the new and the old. But with the Leo full moon, it's shining this light in the darkness. It's showing us how we can create, play, discover, and lead with more fun, with more heart. And at this point, creativity is an act of rebellion. We live in a world barreling towards AI, authoritarianism, robots, chips in our brains. If we allow the technocrats to chip us, they will completely control what we think and what we believe. Our beliefs are our battleground. They always have been. That is what religion is. That is what propaganda is. It is a battle for our beliefs. They want to control what we believe because that is how they control the world. They create the world they want by controlling our beliefs. So, our beliefs create our reality. Our collective beliefs create the collective reality. Free will and the chaos it creates for those in power who seek to shape the destiny of humanity, that's their worst nightmare. Free will is uncontrollable. So, by accessing free will, by knowing that fate is not 100%, you have free will. And by being uncontrollable, that's the best possible thing you can do right now. So get creative, turn up the music, dance, make something, cook, sew, build, express, paint, sculpt, whatever it is that allows you to tap into the flow of life and create, do that. Don't comply. Don't follow the rules. Get crazy. There is a war against free will and creativity. So let this Leo full moon inspire you. We're not locked into fate. We have free will, but we have to use it. All right. So on February 4th, Uranus, which has been retrograde since September 6th, 2025, when it's stationed at 1 degree Gemini, stations direct. As Uranus moved back into Taurus, we really saw crypto markets completely tank. So I'm really curious to see what happens as Uranus stations and when it re enters Gemini again on April 25th, 2026. Trump passed the Genius Act, which legitimized crypto as a form of currency, kind of, sort of. I talked about this in my Uranus Gemini video. I expect to continue to see shakeups in currency and cryptocurrency in the monetary system. Check out that video, it's on YouTube. So, as bleak as it looks right now, crypto could come back into style in the next few months. And with Uranus and Taurus direct, I also expect to see conflict and war ramp up. So it's not shocking or surprising seeing what's happening, not only in the United States, but out in the world, especially with Iran. Just because this Uranus and Gemini cycle is repeating, it doesn't mean that we have to choose the same path. That's what evolution is. Yes, there's a cycle. It feels similar, but we can choose differently. We don't have to repeat the same mistakes. That's the whole point of expanding consciousness. We don't have to succumb to fate. I don't see astrology as fatalistic. I see astrology as this is the energetic weather. What are you going to choose? So just because the energy is going one way, it doesn't mean you have to follow. On February 5th, Mercury in Aquarius squares Uranus and Taurus, and on the 6th, Mercury enters Pisces. A few days later, on February 8th, Venus in Aquarius squares Uranus and Taurus. On the 10th, Venus enters Pisces. So there's this like rite of passage as the planets leave Aquarius and enter Pisces. They have to square Uranus. So it's going to shake things up. Expect disruptions and distractions to ripple through the news feed, especially in regards to politics and money. From mid-month on February 14th, Saturn enters Aries again. Saturn is joining Neptune in Aries. I talk about this in my Saturn, Neptune, and Aries video on YouTube. I go deep into that, so check that out. They're teeing up for the conjunction on the 20th. Before the 20th, the sun is leaving Aquarius. It squares Uranus. And on the 16th, Mercury in Pisces is trine Jupiter in Cancer. When the sun squares Uranus, that feels jarring. Expect to see chaos, disruptions, breakthroughs, innovations. With Mercury in Pisces trine Jupiter, that's actually a really nice soft energy. I wouldn't be surprised if that softens the blow from sun squaring Uranus. The really big news for February is solar eclipse at 28 degrees Aquarius on February 17th. This eclipse is big because it's getting a square from Uranus, again, another square, and Saturn and Neptune are both at 0 degrees for their conjunction in Aries 3 days later. Eclipses are always wild cards. Things can be explosive, things can be sudden, things can be drastic. With this Saturn Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries on the world point, this is a time where a new cycle is being seeded. So the old structures, the old dream is ending and there's a new cycle starting. So we can't really see what that new cycle will be, but it's a time to completely let go of old systems and start embracing the new. The fact that it's happening right after an eclipse makes it super amplified. We might feel like we're in the dark a little bit because we can't really see what's being created. Everything might feel like it's happening behind the scenes. I expect that when this conjunction hits, we might not really know what's going on until Mercury's direct on March 20th and we're out of the eclipse portal. But who knows? Something could happen right away. We'll see. It's a huge discharge of energy during this eclipse period. So expect volatility, expect eruptions. Please plan accordingly. Please keep your nervous system regulated. Do whatever you need to do to stay grounded, to stay calm, to stay focused, but also be able to adapt and adjust. Now, Trump and Vance are both getting hit with this eclipse at 28 degrees Aquarius. It's on their descendant, opposite their ascendant. Something impactful could happen there. Watch how it plays out over the next 6 months. I don't want to scare anyone, but it's big. And again, check out my Saturn, Neptune, and Aries video. I go deeper into that energy. It's a really ripe time to create. So I would lean into the creation and let go of the old. The other thing that's really interesting is this solar eclipse is the sixth in a series of 7 sequential new moons at 28 degrees. So since the solar eclipse in Virgo at 28 degrees on September 21st, 2025, we've been having new moon all at 28 degrees. We had the Virgo solar eclipse at 28 degrees, the Libra new moon at 28 degrees, Scorpio new moon at 28 degrees, Sagittarius new moon at 28 degrees, Capricorn new moon at 28 degrees. Now we're getting the Aquarius solar eclipse at 28 degrees. Now we have another one in Pisces on March 19th at 28 degrees, and that's the last in this sequence. What it feels like we're going through and what I've felt in my own life is it's this very shamanic, transformative process of letting go. It's at 28 degrees. It's at the end. It's at the anaretic degree. It's just sort of beautiful in that everything's coming up for completion. These new moons since September, it's 180 degrees across your chart. Look at your chart, see how these new moons have hit, and really take note what themes have come up. What's happened to you? The cycle started in Virgo, it's ending at Pisces. Pisces is the end. What have you let go of? What have you become? Look at the house that Virgo occupies in your chart. Look at the house that Pisces occupies in your chart. Again, what's the theme? For me, it felt like an internal destruction of what I refer to as an inner system of exploitation and extraction. Some people call this the patriarchy. I don't like that name. I call it anti-human. The way I see it is it's a structure, it's a system we're all in, we've been in forever. It's outside of us, but as we grow and develop through childhood, we internalize it. We've been programmed to operate in it. And we can see it now. We can see how out of balance everything is, how anti-human everything is. We're destroying our ecosystem. We're destroying the earth. We're not making good choices. We are putting our own species in danger of extinction. I had a big year last year. I went back to grad school. It was hard juggling school, kids, and work. I spent most of December just doing absolutely nothing, just healing, just letting things come up to be seen, felt, processed, and let go. And it was a really nice opportunity for me to feel into these new moons at 28 degrees from eclipse to eclipse and really dive deeper into the energy and what was coming up. And it was just absolutely this ending, this old structure being completely demolished, not only inside of me in the way that I see and perceive and believe, but also out in the collective. So that's what I've been doing. And it's amazing because there's no going back to that old version of myself. That old version is gone. It's done. And I expect by March 19th, that last new moon at 28 degrees, I'll be in an entirely new dimension and frequency. And so will all of you. It's really, really exciting. And that's when I feel like the next day, Mercury stations direct. And that's just, to me, feels like a huge launch. So unfortunately, all this eclipse energy, whenever there's a Mercury retrograde in the middle of an eclipse period, the energy kind of gets backed up. Like it can't move forward. I'm not scared of eclipses. I really like how wild they are. So I'm curious to see what kind of gets stuck or backlogged and then what happens on March 20th when Mercury stations direct. I expect it to be a huge day. One of the things I do want you to realize as we're going through this process is people talk a lot about changing your reality, raising your vibration, changing timelines, all that fun stuff. The only way I have found, and I've tried everything, I am super curious, I experiment like crazy. The only way I've found to change your reality, to change your vibration, to change timelines is to work on your trauma, to do the shadow work, to get very clear on what beliefs you have locked in, what programs you are running. And once you start to shift and change that, that's when the timelines shift. That's when your vibration raises. That's when you are actually changing your reality because your beliefs create your reality. What you believe is what you perceive. The end. So get really honest about who you are and the life that you're creating. Take radical responsibility. The systems that we've lived under for so long are collapsing. They are not supporting us anyways. They aren't supporting life, so let them collapse. Don't cling to them. We need to let them go. We need to focus on balance, on building systems that support us, on working with nature, on supporting life. So use that as your inspiration to move forward. As we get to the second half of the month, there's this Pisces pileup. February is challenging, but there's some good moments in there. I think one of the most interesting days for me is February 23rd. Yes, it's in the middle of the eclipse portal, but Venus is in Pisces where she's exalted and Jupiter is in Cancer and the moon is in Taurus. I really see that as absolutely beautiful energy and a great opportunity to take some time out, enjoy the good things in life, appreciate the beauty around you, the people you love, nourish your body with healthy food, go for a swim, have a cold plunge, sweat it out in a sauna, get a massage, have a facial, do special things for yourself, take care of yourself, lean into self care. And with the sun, Venus, and Mercury all in Pisces, it feels like this beautiful retreat or relief from what could be shock and awe happening in the world around us. On February 26th, Mercury stations retrograde in Pisces at 22 degrees, which just feels kind of messy. Like I said, especially between eclipses. So there's all this energy that wants to be discharged that's getting blocked. It'll be retrograde for 22 days until March 20th when it stations at 8 degrees of Pisces. So expect shakeups then. The next eclipse is a total lunar eclipse on March 3rd at 12 degrees Virgo. We'll have Mars, the Sun, Mercury, all in Pisces, plus the North Node. This to me feels a little bit like an economic shock. With the South Node in Virgo, we've seen job losses and unemployment rising. And that's what happens when the South Node is in Virgo. I expect this to continue. And with the North Node in Pisces, the US debt just continues to spiral out of control. So it's like jobs are hemorrhaging, debt is spiraling. Invest your money and your energy wisely. Know that this too will pass. You're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. These are just challenges, and use your intuition, use your creativity, and navigate all of this with a regulated nervous system so you can make good decisions from your prefrontal cortex. If you need any support, I am here for you. Book a session at bigbeautifulsky.com. All the best. Bye.